Okay. We are recording. Welcome to Travel Future Podcast. Today again with a beautiful connection to India. You already know who I am, but I'm gonna say it again. I am a painter. I am a body painter. I come from body painting, and then I went to dance. I'm also a breath worker and an artist as a main umbrella, and I invite here women, only women, to this podcast who have an interesting connection to tribal fusion belly dance or dance for season one. And today I'm sitting with two very intelligent and very interesting creators. So together they created Unmaya. Unmaya is an AI generated film that features tribal fusion elements. The film is available on YouTube as a one part, and it's available on Instagram as three parts if you want to watch it. I'm going to put the YouTube link under this video. It's about dance empowerment, body positivity, and the power that our mind has over our body, whether in a positive or a negative way. So we have here Ojas on my, yes, wherever you're watching this from, on this side. She has a formal training in Kathak, Oriental and Tribal Fusion belly dance. She's a fusionist at heart. Applies the same in her dance practice as in her career, and she's a creative technologist with an award-winning Gen AI film under her belt. And then we have Shradha. Um, She's a tribal fusion belly dance student with 5 to 6 years of experience, learning under various teachers around the world, content designer by profession, and she's adapted telling stories that meet audiences where they are. Long intro. Welcome to both of you. Please
Thank you.
explain us what you have, what's the project in your own words, and how you came to do that.
Okay. Well, Unmaya is a short AI film. It's a movie about a woman trying to find herself as she explores the dance form of tribal fusion, belly dance. And as she goes from exploring her hobby to a dance performance, what are the emotions that come up within her? That's what the movie is about.
Mm-hmm. And you have used a body for the protagonist that challenges the idea of a perfect dance body. So how did that surge from where? From yeah.
So we didn't like you said, like we didn't go for this perfect dance body because it's almost like every woman's story. Somehow women are like taught never to be happy with the bodies that they have, especially around their bellies. uh, I, when I would share my tribal fusion belly dance practice videos online, there would be people coming and saying, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to like lose a little bit of weight and then I'm going to sign up for classes." Or they'd be like, "Oh, your dance is very interesting, but have you thought about losing a little bit of weight?" So always there is that conversation around women's bodies and dance. And somehow there are like these two polar messages. One is like, the dance floor is for everybody is welcome on the dance floor, but there is also this other message, but you need to look a certain way to be on the dance floor. So Anmaya kind of like sits in the middle of both of this, where uh, she goes in because everybody is welcome on the dance floor, but at the same time, what is the internal monologue that she goes through? I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I've seen a lot of mainstream movies which have a non-conventional body type having a monologue, or an underrepresented ethnicity or nationality of a dancer taking up center stage to dance. So that's why it was very important for us to have Maya, who's the protagonist of the movie, to be a very relatable character.
Oh, Jess, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I totally agree with Shraddha. I mean, even me, like in my whole dance journey, I've been having this complex relationship with body where I'm constantly behind looking perfect. and I thought that is what I should be like. That's my final end goal. Is how I imagine myself. That okay, when I'm a good dancer or really at that stage, this is how I look. Somewhere I also wanted to challenge that notion because I was seeing I'm not being happy within the process of my journey if I keep that notion in my head. Also, it was important for me to go through this process of creating because I was behind. I was like the one who was prompting AI to create these bodies that did not look like, what I would perceive as a good dancer. So somewhere I was also being challenged. Okay, okay, wow, this is something I become very insecure about if I have to prompt these words about a body, and then
Mm-hmm.
throughout like the journey I became more comfortable to even mention that, oh, this is the body I want the dancer to be like, and I could relate more to it. So it was a both way process where I was being more accepting of different kind of bodies. Also, it was also a reflection of my body.
Mm-hmm.
So it was important for me to like even go through this process as well as challenge myself.
Nice. Um, how did you how did you meet tribal fusion belly dance? Because there are so many dances in India. Like you, for example, you also did classical dances. There, I don't know if you got to like if you saw that, but there was this whole big discussion about the word tribal in other parts of the world. I talked to a few Indian dancers like Deepika and also Nivita, and they tell me that they really like using the word tribal because of the context in India. How do you stand with the that wording?
I think it's
Hmm.
similar to what even Deepika, Vijay, and Nivita they have mentioned. Like in
Hmm.
India, there are so many tribal communities, and I also have my own ancestry from certain tribe, and also I've learned Kathak. So there, I mean, we end up learning about lot about the history, the mythological story. So I feel like even about Indian dance culture. So I really relate to like how all these dancers they bring their Indian roots to their fusion format. So first time I saw TFBD was in Deepika Vijay's dance
Was
retreat. That's
you
where
saw
I
Deepika? Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
yeah.
Aha.
So
Yeah, she's wonderful. Hmm.
yeah,
And I
so
think
that's this
she
is the
has
first. Mhm.
she has a lot of students that in India, I think generally you have a lot of women dancing this dance that is not the that is the non-conventional body type. Like it's what I see a lot in India. I don't know if you see it differently, but comparing to the rest of the world, like the US or Europe. Yes or no?
Well,
Eh,
well, yeah, go ahead, Ojas.
yeah, it is true actually. I don't know. It depends, I guess. For me, that belly dance was an intro to this diversity. Before that, when I was learning classical, it was very different. Like I would maybe it depends on whom I am looking up to. So, but yeah, Shraddha, you can add something. What
Mhm.
is your?
Well, I would go from, I'll answer first the tribal a bit
Yes.
of the question. When I started learning, so I've learned under many teachers in India, so Deepika Vijay, Nivita Shri, as well as Bindu Bolar. When I was taking up a course with Bindu Bolar, she had a history section in her beginners module where she would take us through a lot of older dancers of how from the Salimpors to how to Rachel Bryce to how tribal fusion has come up today. Um, Even without understanding the contention behind the word tribal fusion, when I would look at the photographs and I would see the long skirts,
Mhm.
and we call it ghagra chole, and when I would see that, I was like, oh, okay, it looks so Indian in nature. Also, like the Florio arms and everything. I'm like, it looks very Indian in nature. Uh, cut to that, like now about 5 to 6 years down the line, when I'm learning a little more about the history through teachers, I got to know about Rom Dom Lom, about the tribes from Rajasthan, which have a connection to the tribes in Eastern Europe. And so there's like this Indian connection to the dance. Um, I believe that the word tribal fusion dance gives the dance its aesthetics more heft, because if you have the word tribal, it kind of evokes in mind imagery about like jewelry, the way you dress up for the dance and everything. So simply keeping it as fusion dance would mean many things. In India, we also have something called Bollywood, which is like a very famous. How would you call it? Bollywood is the name
Yeah.
for the industry for movie.
Hmm.
So we also have belly fusion classes. So fusion would be in many things. So I think tribal fusion would be apt. Also, adding to that, when it comes to the types of bodies that we see in tribal fusion belly dance, um, maybe if we divide it, like in the West it is a certain way, and here in India it is a certain way, but that the diversity of bodies that we see there is lesser, and the diversity of bodies that we see here is more. But in like personally for me, when I go to class, I think I am able to discern like a lot more what the Indian bodies diversity skewed is there. Like for example, the larger bodies, I know how they react to the dance form. I see a certain size of bodies and smaller, and how they are informed about their bodies when they dance. So I think I do see that gap when it comes to acceptance of your body type when it comes to dance. So, yeah, yeah.
Well, what just came to my mind is that actually what was formerly called ATS, or American Tribal Style, which is problematic in itself because there were no tribal people from America in the dance, so no indigenous
Mm-hmm.
people from North America in the dance, and now it's called Fat Chance Belly Dance, and a lot of these women who dance Fat Chance Belly Dance style or the tribal style, they are actually, as compared to the woman who dance just the tribal fusion or call to that, they usually have a lot more weight on their body, and their body isn't, they're not like skinny. Not all of them, like usually it's so there's also this difference, but in general I think that belly dance and everything that has grown from that foundation, so including fusion dance, tribal fusion, belly dance, and all of the other words, they they are meant to be for women of all sizes and all colors and all ages also. So it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't stop at a certain
Mm-hmm.
age, as opposed to, other dances like with for ballet with 30-year-old, which is crazy. But I want to go more into the creative process of making Unmaya with AI, because I remember you sent me some videos of the making process, and I saw some figures that looked like humans and they did things like that, and I tried to do that with my body when I, uh doing what AI was doing, and it worked pretty well. So I'm interested in knowing, like, when you write the prompt, for example, Ojas, or when you give the idea Shradha, you come from the dance movement and give that prompt to the AI, or is it the other way around?
Oh,
Um,
actually, what just, yeah, I think you should go ahead with the process actually.
yeah, so yeah, I think you went through the AI filmmaking process is one thing, and second is there are some sequences where she's dancing, right? And it depends on what we want to achieve from those sh shots, right? In some parts of the movie, she's standing in front of a mirror and swaying her arms. So the level of detail, how much I give depends on what we want to. Like, there's a difference between the level of detail in those scenes and the final dance sequence where there is a proper choreography being translated. So in certain scenes, you can prompt by mentioning the sway of arms rhythmically. So that will give you videos of her moving a certain way where you saw her swaying arms. These are easily achievable actually while prompting. But if we want to translate a complex choreography, like in the final sequence where she has a 40-50 seconds worth of choreography,
Yeah.
there prompting won't work. We'll need to give more information. Like we had to give a video of Shraddha moving, and then we generated an output that there's a character replacement. There's Maya dancing as Shraddha. But then in that process as well, there is more complexity involved because AI does not just understand from a video. It needs more information like the body language that we want to achieve. For example, we want the movement to be grounded. So there are a little bit of technical challenges to get that final desired output. So to get that output, we need to understand, okay, what is the body language of this dance? This is the choreography. There are these different technical vocabulary involved that we don't want it to change. So there were these kind of challenges that we kept in mind that we should not alter TFBD. And parallelly, I was working on finding out, okay, in this, what could I change in the technical part of it to make sure that these changes, like this, doesn't alter TFBD form. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
which form do you use? Because there isn't a set form. So you were sticking to the form that you learned, or to what exactly do you? Because that's the big question with tribal fusion belly dancing.
Ah,
Like, what is the
form that you
form?
learned.
Yeah, there.
Of course, it is the form we learned.
Yes. Okay. And
Yeah.
what instrument were you using? Like, what programs do you use to do that? And also,
Okay.
before you answer, for someone who's watching this, maybe someone, is not in our generation, when she says the prompt, she's referring to a text that she puts into the program where she says, like, this dancer is now raising her right arm, and then this is the prompt. It's like a commando to the AI, which is how you should deal with AI. You command it, it does what you command. Yeah, not the other way around. Okay.
Okay, what tools we used? Okay, there is a popular tool called Thing where you have access to all these text to video models where you can give a prompt or a text and get some video. And there are even complex tools where you can create a complex network where you just don't rely on just a model. You can add on more control to it. Like, okay, I can give video, I can change few things inside the model as well. And then that's what we did for the final sequence where we had a complex workflow and then we got the final sequence out of it. So that's using a tool called Comfy UI, and then there were a couple of open source models like Van, Animate. So we had to put all that together and get the final sequence. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you. Shradha, anything you want to add to the creative process and to how dance influences AI or vice versa?
Oh, I mean, it was so the tech part of the stuff I was not involved in. When we were making the film, we just had like a few things in mind that we wanted to hook onto. So one is making sure that her body is very natural and relatable. Second is that the TFBD choreo needs to be accurate. It doesn't veer towards contemporary. It has TFBT vocabulary. So after I created the choreography, I kind of shared it with Deepika, asking, "Hey, does this look a tribal fusion belly dance enough? Does it have the floreo arms? Can you see it clearly and all of that?" So yeah, so we did that, and at the same time also. mm there were parts where AI could not entirely capture our imagination in the story. It had its limitations. So suppose we were prompting it something, and it would give us a certain output, which is not something that we wanted. We had to kind of like work around it while keeping the story and the sentiment intact. So it was like a lot of negotiation with AI. It was not very straightforward that, hey, AI, do this, give us this. It was never like that. Like we would request AI for something, AI was not aware of it. It was give us something, and then we would be like, can we use this to express this emotion? So it was something like that.
Hmm. How, yeah, so that thing with the emotion, like AI doesn't have emotion, but your character, it transpasses a lot of emotions, and it's quite dark also, the movie, not in the sense that it's like frightening or anything. I was concerned. I was so happy when I didn't see any violence. It's just that she's wearing black, and at some point there's like this black. It's not a very colorful movie, let's say. So there's this black snake coming up, which is the embodiment of her. That's how I understood it. Please correct me if that's Quatsch. Um, that's the embodiment of her own destructive thoughts. So why,
Mhm.
or her thoughts that are diminishing herself, maybe in front of the mirror. It was that the idea, and how do you make AI convey emotion?
Okay. So what we did was, so tribal fusion belly dance is a lot of serpentine movements, like the sidewinders or the lateral body wave, and it's like something that a lot of, like most of the dancers, they just like love the serpentine aspect of the dance. But at the same time, snakes are like, people get very scared of snakes. They are very sometimes it's like an ominous omen in movies and art and literature. So what we did is we kind of use the snake as like a double-edged sword in the movie. So whenever the snake makes the appearance, does it mean that something, is it something bad for Maya, or is it something, is the snake trying to say something? And when the snake comes up and you can see her skin peeling, and
Mm-hmm.
as snakes have a molting process where they keep regenerating.
Mm-hmm.
So transformation was used as a metaphor. So we wanted to convey her emotion of transformation, and that transformation can is not necessarily a pretty process. It can get pretty ugly, it can get pretty uh, you don't feel grounded. You start because it's something so new, and it can really be unnerving. So that's how we kind of used the snake to show her embodied emotion, transformation, fear, um, ambivalence of whether it's positive or negative, not very clear. It's something for viewers to understand.
Okay, I see. Yes, and yes, it's true. The snake is definitely one of the main aspects of tribal fusion belly dance and of belly dance as well. It's like an archetype that is within the dance as well as the goddess archetypes. There are a few archetypes that are, like bound within this dance. And it's interesting that now I understand that the snake is whether not good or bad or both. Actually, I paint a lot of snakes, as you can see, but from the colors, like these are the healing snakes, but the process of um, becoming new skin is a process that I think all of us go through. I definitely have gone through, and it's a very liberating feeling for me to lose my old
Mhm.
skin, and then you become very vulnerable when this new is created. The snake is almost like their eyes are almost blind during this process. It's like white. Um, yeah, so that's interesting. Or just you're timid, so I know I have to like push you a little bit if you want to say something.
No, yeah, yeah, I'm soaking in so many things. Yeah,
Processing, right?
yeah, processing.
Okay, no
Um,
worries. Yes, thought came up.
no, no, no. You were mentioning about AI. Can AI convey the
Mm-hmm.
emotions or not, right? So, like, it's more about like perspective, what's the role of AI in a creative process. I think people look at it more like you'll just put a text, you'll get an image, AI generated image. If you look at it more like a tool to generate images, because images always evoke emotions. They carry different elements, those colors and everything, they evoke different emotions, right? So the decision is always with the human. What kind of color? What do I want to add? And the tool is just really good at generating these images. So that's how I look at it, rather than like AI being like giving more importance to AI in the final output. It's the importance goes to the human, and AI just becomes a medium.
Yeah,
So
that's a very
yeah,
good
just
point, actually, because a lot of people that were on the podcast, I don't know if you saw it, but a lot of people have a very difficult relation with AI and technology. A lot of people are afraid of it. They think it's evil, and I see it like you, that it's a tool, and the question is who is commanding that tool. And so in the end, it's like a human, which leads me to the next question. And now we have 10 minutes left, but um, how, where's the question? Yeah. What kind of relationship with AI and like creative, creating art? Let's open this up in general. It's not just dancing, but maybe also painting or, creating digital art, like the partner of Deepika does this amazing art. I forgot his name now, but he's amazing.
Vijay,
Um,
Vijay,
Vijay, yes.
Vijay Macha. Vijay,
Vijay
yes, yes.
Mata, yeah, he does this amazing digital art. So how in your, like, if you look at the future, it's undeniable that AI is going to play a big part. How would
Mm.
how would you see that? And it's also part of imagination because obviously we don't know the future. But ideally, what could you give as like input um, for the use of that tool in a responsible way?
Oh,
mm,
uh, I mean, like AI, of course, can always be used for inspiration, whether you're writing, whether dancing, whether making any form of art. Um, in the context of TFBD, I think that a truly tech forward dancer can use AI to kind of create more archival information or knowledge about the dance. Like, for example, Odissi is like one of the classical dances in India, and it's thousands of years old. But and it was facing a decline post independence. But then comes someone named Kelucharan Mahapatra who gave it like a structure. He studied the ancient texts and he kind of revived it. And if you look at TFBD also, we have teachers, Rachel Bryce, Zoe Jakes, who kind of codify the dance vocabulary and create these certification courses where you can become a teacher of that said dance form. So if AI can be used as something that creates like a big knowledge base where students can get like more deeper information and like one part where they can actually go and get more information, I think that is something that artists and choreographers, they can change the way they teach. I can give like one pretty interesting, and this is not related to dance. There are a couple of EDM, electronic dance music artists in India named Murthovic and Thiruda. So they created like a audio visual kind of a performance, like they are DJing and there is a video, there's a film kind of a thing happening in the background. It's called Elsewhere in India. It's basically a character, her name is Minakshi. She kind of goes through this dystopian Indofuturism kind of a setup where she's trying to retrieve cultural artifacts because society has kind of forgotten all of it. So, and I think they did this some 3 years ago. So, there is always scope to show AI and like bring the future in a more positive light and make sure previous art forms don't die out. So AI can something definitely be used for something like that apart from inspiration. So yeah, yeah.
That's really good. Did you say Indo-futurism?
Indo-futurism, yes.
It's futurism related to India.
To India, correct. Just like
Mm.
Afrofuturism is a
Yes.
thing in yes, yes.
There's Afrofuturism from what I've like researched. Afrofuturism, indigenous futurism, which is for to all indigenous people of the world. Amazon futurism, which is from specifically from the Amazon in Brazil, And now we have Indofuturism. I'm really interested in all
Okay,
those things.
okay.
Um,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I
Ojas.
mean, yeah, how can we? Yeah, so because I'm involved with AI so much, my first advice would be to limit the usage of AI, like in the initial part of the process, because we think, okay, like because I think everything in terms of efficiency.
mhm,
So if you start thinking of if you have the mindset of making everything efficient and fast, you can get lost by how much information you can consume. So you should be careful because AI is definitely good at giving citing, good at giving a lot of information, and someone very new to that information can get lost. So it's very important to understand how to use AI in the initial part of the process. Um, and like try to limit the usage of AI consciously, like be more conscious about taking information that AI gives you.
mhm.
And we should always have this mind to critique what is being given by AI because AI also may not be every chat or every chat interface comes with a disclaimer that AI can make mistakes. So being just aware about that information may not be right at times. So
Mhm.
that would be one
That's a
thing.
good thing to question, like you would question a person giving you information,
Yeah.
to also question the AI
Yeah.
because it happens a lot because it says when you ask it things, it says things with such confidence. That
Yeah.
that's the trick, humans. Also, if you don't know about something and you say it with confidence, people might believe it's true, but to question that
True.
also, yeah, like politicians do that a lot, for example. We have to
Yeah.
yeah, question that. They say it with
Exactly.
confidence. It's like, but is it true? Okay, and then la last question. We have like 3 minutes 40 left. What is something ancient that you think it's important to take to the future? Like ancient technology, I call it. For me, it's the
By
breath.
ancient, you mean? Oh,
By
okay.
ancient, I mean, for example, for me, it's
Mm.
breath work, or in yoga they call it pranayama, but there are so many different ways of breathing. But yoga is definitely a foundation of breath. Um, I mean, breathing. Some people say community. Um, well,
Mhm.
yes,
I
something
was
that's
I
that
was
exists since many years, and that you think is important that we
Mm.
take it to the future vision.
I was actually
Mm.
just going to say that the practice of community spaces, because I think we as a society, we're just becoming more and more insular because of dependence on technology.
Hmm.
Um, I think having avenues for more community spaces is something that is so important. Like we just feel so alive, like the humanness of our, like why do we feel so much better when we do an offline class rather than an online class? Online class, you're kind of alone. Offline, you can see each other, breathe, and I don't know, it just feels so different. So I think it's so intrinsic to us, and we should definitely have that carried forward into the future without fail.
Yeah.
Nice
I also
community.
agree. Like more physical presence rather than digital presence. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'm a big fan of like live classes. When it started with the pandemic, I thought it was so cool being at home and giving classes on live. And after that, now I'm coming back to giving classes like 3 or 4 years later. But a lot of my students didn't like it. I think that energy has no limits, but obviously the blue light that comes from the screen is not good for your skin. So it's not, and and it's also nice to see people there's some magic that happens when especially women are in a room, uh,
Yes, definitely.
Mm.
uh, sharing whatever it is that comes from the heart. Okay. Um,
Mm.
thank you so much, both of you, for taking your time. and coming here and sharing your project. I'm gonna put the project underneath. I'm gonna put as much information underneath all your Instagram if you want to check it out, if you want to see what these girls are doing. I think they're part of this is very much part of the future conversation, and looking forward to see how this will change our dance when we start moving like there's this robot move. But AI actually looks so
Or AI would dance in a serpentine way. So
yeah, AI looks so smooth. The girl on the video, you have to watch it. She looks so real. It's actually good to know that she's AI because she could be real. Thank you so much, girls.
thank you so much for
Thank
having both of
you.
us. We really enjoyed being on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.